Hello friends, welcome to Affairs Cloud Learn to Lead. This is Ashu and today we will discuss very important current affairs of 17th of September 2021. You can see two best images of the day, but today we will discuss very important and the most important current affairs. So watch this video till last. But I am requesting you all the students that you can download our application Careers Cloud from the description box link. After that, you can log in with the email ID and then click on this crack current affairs section to subscribe our current affairs for 1 year as well as for 2 years. Both the subscription prices are very much low, but we are covering 90 to 95% of the current affairs which can come in every type of exam. This is the hard work of Affairs Cloud team. But how we are covering this current affair? We are providing you daily section. In the daily section, you will receive three things. One is the detail, second is the question and answer format of current affair, third is the quiz section which you can attempt on our application on daily basis. Next is the weekly section. Again, you will receive three things. One is the detail, second is the question and answer format of current affairs on weekly basis, and the quiz section. It means you can attempt this quiz on weekly basis on our application. The most important section is the monthly, and we are providing four type of PDFs. One is the detailed current affair, question and answer format of current affair, best 100 current affair that is also provided in the form of question and answer, and the pocket PDF. It means the 2-liner and the 3-liners current affair will be provided to you so that you can revise the current affair very easily in quick format. But to enhance your performance further, we are also providing topic-wise current affair. We are covering 20 most important topics which are very important for every type of exam. It means if you want to cover one topic related news from just single PDF, then you can use these type of topic-wise PDF. If you are a banking student, we are providing three things. One is the detail, second is the question and answer format, and third is the quiz section only related to banking and economy. But you can attempt this quiz on our application on monthly basis. If you want to cover all the past current affair of 2021 just from single PDF, then you can use this exam PDF. We are providing detailed budget and economic survey. Also, expected question and answer will be provided to you so that you can recall that examiner can make these type of questions from budget and economic survey. If you are appearing for your respective state exam, then we are also providing state current affairs. It will definitely help you to crack your state exam, and we are covering every state and union territory. So all these things covers under one subscription. So we are providing all these things under one subscription. You have to just download our application Careers Cloud from the description box link, log in with the email ID, then click on this crack current affair section to subscribe it for 1 year as well as for 2 years. Both the subscription prices are very much low. If you see the price, you will definitely surprise. But if you're a new student, you are just starting your preparation, then I am advising you to subscribe for 2 years. And there is a very less difference if you are seeing the price or comparing the price between the 1 year subscription as well as 2 year subscription. But on both subscriptions, we are providing 10% extra discount if you use this code ASH10. And if you have any query, you can email us on this email ID or you can contact us on this number. So let's start today's current affair, that is 17th of September 2021. But I'm requesting you all the students that you have to like this video, you have to share this video as maximum as possible, and please subscribe this channel if you're new on this platform. And you can join our Telegram group from the description box link. And here is the first question in the most important section. Euromoney named which bank as world's best bank and world's best digital bank? It means 2 award goes to this bank for 2021. And remember, this ranking is basically released by Euromoney, which is United Kingdom based financial publication. And name of this bank is DBS Bank. So answer of this question is A. So you can see here DBS honored as the world best bank for the 4th straight year, and it is a report which is known as Euromoney Awards for Excellence Report of 2021, which is published by Euromoney, which is United Kingdom based financial publication. And Euromoney announced its Global Awards for Excellence 2021. And DBS, the Developmental Bank of Singapore, basically the Singapore-based financial services group, as World Best Bank 2021 for the second time in 3 years. And this bank also won the World's Best Digital Bank Award 2021. It means DBS Bank becomes the first bank in the world to hold both title. Both title means one is the World Best Bank, second is the World Best Digital Bank. Best Bank and the Digital Bank. And DBS was awarded for demonstrating its rare skills in surviving the COVID-19 pandemic and for utilizing the chance to innovate and become a better bank during the pandemic. And DBS has been named as the world best bank by Euromoney in 2021 as well, and also in 2019. Even one more publication which is known as Global Finance also awarded DBS Bank as the world best bank in 2020 as well as in 2018. So you can see 2018 world best bank by Global Finance, 2019 world best bank by Euromoney, 2020 world best bank by Global Finance again, and 2021 Euromoney best bank again. So 4 times this bank was awarded in a straight 4 years as the world best bank. And remember, Euromoney Awards for Excellence established in 1992. This award was established in 1992 and was the first of its kind in the global banking industry. And you can also remember about DBS Bank. DBS Bank global headquarters is in Singapore and CEO is Piyush Gupta. Piyush Gupta. So now we are moving to next question. Who was named among the world's 100 most influential people of 2021, released by Times magazine recently. Again, very important magazine. And this magazine released a list of 100 most influential, world's most 100 influential people of 2021. And out of 100, 3 people belongs to India. One is Narendra Modi, Mamta Banerjee, and Adar Poonawalla. It means answer of this question is D, all of these. So remember, and you can see here, Narendra Modi, the Prime Minister of India, Mamta Banerjee, the Chief Minister of West Bengal, and Adar Poonawalla, CEO of the Serum Institute of India, which is Pune-based institution. And this Serum Institute of India is also the founder of Covishield. So these 3 personalities among 100 most influential people of 2021. And you can also see here this 100 most influential people of 2021, a annual list of the global leader was published or released by Times magazine. And 3 personalities from India also listed under this 100 most influential list, and global leaders like US President Joe Biden, even US Vice President Kamala Harris, Chinese President Xi Jinping, Italian Prime Minister Mario Draghi, and Israel new Prime Minister Naftali Bennett, Iranian President Ebrahim Raisi were also listed. Even former US President Donald Trump and the Taliban government Deputy Prime Minister Ghani brother of Afghanistan was also listed under this 100 most influential people. So Time is an American news magazine and news website based in the New York. It means United States of America. Just remember these 3 personalities' name. Moving to our very important question section, guys. You have to like this video, share this video as maximum as possible, and please subscribe this channel if you're new on this platform, and you can join our Telegram group from the description box link. Here is the question. Which state has announced the launch of Matrbhumi Yojana? And this Matrbhumi Yojana was launched by Uttar Pradesh. So answer of this question is D. So the Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh, Yogi Adityanath ji, launched this Uttar Pradesh Matrbhumi Yojana. And you can see here a smiling face of Yogi Adityanath ji, and he launched this UP Matrbhumi Yojana. So what is this program? Every person will be given a chance to directly participate in the various work of infrastructure development in the rural region. Because in Uttar Pradesh, if you see, 80% of the population is living in the rural areas. So this scheme will enhance the participatory rural economy and the infrastructure in the state. Like you can say health centers, Anganwadi, library, gymnasiums, open gym, cattle breed improvement centers, you can say CCTVs for the smart villages, development of the funeral sites. All of these things basically developed in the rural areas with the participation of the population of the rural area. And 50% of the expense will be provided by the state government, and remaining 50% will be contributed by the interested people. It means if I want to basically construct a library in the rural area of UP, it means 50% cost will be paid by me, and 50% will be by state government. So it will definitely improve the rural infrastructure, and the project will be named after their collaborators. So you can just remember the name of this scheme and what is the purpose of this scheme. This is very important. And you can also remember about Uttar Pradesh. Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath, Governor is Anandiben Patel, and very important national park is there, Dudhwa National Park. Pilibhit Tiger Reserve is also there. Pilibhit Tiger Reserve. Moving to next question. What is the name of the campaign which was launched by Niti Aayog, National Institution for Transforming India, to promote zero pollution delivery vehicles? So delivery vehicles like used by the e-commerce websites, or you can say by the food chains. So we can use, instead of the other vehicles, we can use this zero pollution delivery vehicles. It means electric vehicles. We can use this. And a campaign was launched by the Niti Aayog to promotion of these electric vehicles for the delivery. It is Shunya. So answer of this question is C. So Niti Aayog, in partnership with Rocky Mountain Institute (RMI), launched a campaign named Shunya. Shunya stands for zero, zero, and its main aim to create consumer awareness on the benefits of using pollution-free electric vehicles in delivery of consumables. And you can also see here it is RMI. RMI stands for Rocky Mountain Institute. Rocky Mountain Institute, and Niti Aayog launched this campaign Shunya to promote the zero pollution delivery vehicles, or you can say to promote the electric vehicles during delivery. So it is an initiative to promote the uses of zero pollution delivery vehicles among the e-commerce companies, fleet aggregators, original equipment manufacturers, and the logistic companies. Because around 10% of the freight transportation related to carbon emission in India caused by the urban freight vehicles, which is expected to grow almost by 114% by the 2030. So to reduce this carbon emission, we have to use the electric vehicles instead of the traditional vehicles. So to promote these electric vehicles, Niti Aayog launched this campaign which is known as Shunya. Even under this meeting, 30 logistic and the consumable companies participated in the meeting, like Amazon, Flipkart, Zomato. So all these companies participated under this meeting, and they also highlighted that they will promote this Shunya campaign for the promotion of electric vehicles. So just remember, this is Shunya, and remember about Niti Aayog. It was established on 1st of Jan 2015. Its CEO is Amitabh Kant. Recently, time period was extended, and chairman, or you can say the president of this organization or the chairman, is Prime Minister. Prime Minister is ex officio chairman, and vice chairman is Dr. Rajiv Kumar. Dr. Rajiv Kumar. So vice chairman, not vice president, vice chairman. Moving to next question. Narendra Modi laid the foundation stone of Raja Mahendra Pratap Singh State University at which place? So this state university is basically related to Uttar Pradesh. So answer of this question is Aligarh. B is the answer. So you have to just remember the name. Name is basically Raja Mahendra Pratap Singh State University, and this is inaugurated by Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji. The foundation stone was laid down by the Prime Minister Narendra Modi in Uttar Pradesh, and in Uttar Pradesh the exact place is Aligarh. And you can also see here Prime Minister Narendra Modi laid the foundation stone of Raja Mahendra Pratap Singh State University in Aligarh. And the university will have the Department of Modern Defense Study, Defense Manufacturing related technology, and the manpower development. And Uttar Pradesh will establish this university. And Raja Mahendra Pratap Singh was born in a socio-economically influential Jat family of the Uttar Pradesh in 1886. And he was a Jat freedom fighter, social reformist, journalist, and writer as well. And in 1979, the government of India issued a postage stamp in his honor, and he was popularly known as the Aryan Peshwa. So remember Aryan Peshwa, because he was in the North India, that's why he was known as Aryan Peshwa. Is basically a most powerful community of the Marathas, or you can say the highest position of the Marathas. So now we are moving to the next question. You have to just remember the exact location. Raja Mahendra Pratap Singh State University in Aligarh. Moving to next question. Which country established a security partnership named AUKUS? So remember the keywords here. This is the security partnership, and this partnership is known as AUKUS. So A stands for Australia, UK stands for United Kingdom, US stands for United States of America. So this is the trilateral security partnership, which is known as Australia, United Kingdom, and United States of America, to strengthen diplomatic, security, and the defense cooperation in the Indo-Pacific region. So you have to remember this. So answer of this question is all of these. D is the answer. So very simple question, and you can also see here the three Prime Minister: Joe Biden of the United States of America, and you can also see here the Boris Johnson of the United Kingdom, and Scott Morrison of the Australia. So you can remember these Prime Minister name as well. So they announced the formation of this group, a new trilateral defense and security partnership for the Indo-Pacific area. So the main objective is to secure peace and security in the Indo-Pacific region, and key focus areas are like you can say cyber capabilities, artificial intelligence, quantum technologies, and additional undersea capabilities. And this group and the other alliance, which is known as Quad Group, are formed with a vision for safer and the more secure Indo-Pacific. But you have to remember, this Quad Group stands for India, the combination of India, Japan, Australia, and United States of America. And the United States of America President Joe Biden will host the first ever in-person Quad Leaders Summit at the White House on 24th of September 2021. First in-person Quad meeting will be hosted by United States of America in White House. So you have to also remember this. Moving to next question. Who wrote a book, Human Rights and Terrorism in India? Very famous member of parliament from BJP. And answer of this question is Subramaniam Swamy. Answer of this question is D, Human Rights and Terrorism in India. So BJP member of parliament Subramaniam Swamy has authored this book, and it traces how the combating of terrorism can be harmonized with the human and the fundamental rights within reasonable restrictions that are permitted by the constitution and upheld by the Supreme Court. And you can also see here the very interesting cover page and the very beautiful cover page, Human Rights and Terrorism in India. So you have to remember, because this person is very important. And the book mentions the release of three terrorists in the exchange of hijacked Indian airline passengers in the Afghanistan area. That was known as the Kandahar hijacking in 1999 as the worst capitulation or to terrorists in India modern history. So this book also mentioned this incident of Indian plane hijacking in 1999 in Kandahar. And BJP leader Subramanian Swamy has also honored with the Tamil Ratan in 2018. And he has authored so many books, like he has authored more than 20 books. But these options are again very, very important. You can see here Jairam Ramesh, very famous leader of Congress. He wrote a book, The Light of Asia. The Light of Asia. Next, Vishram Bedikar, he wrote a book known as Battlefield. And next is Rudrangshu Mukherjee. He wrote a very famous book, A Begum and a Rani. A Begum and a Rani. But it stands for, Begum stands for Begum Hazrat Mahal, and a Rani stands for Rani Lakshmibai. It means this book is basically about the revolt of 1857, or the participation of Begum Hazrat Mahal and Rani Lakshmibai in the revolt of 1857. So now we are moving to the next question. Who became the brand ambassador of Fossil? Fossil is a watch company, very famous watch company. And who became the brand ambassador of this watch company? This is Kriti Senon. So answer of this question is B. So Kriti Senon, collaboration with the Fossil will extend to promoting the watch and accessories category, ranging from traditional and smart watches to leather product as well as jewelry for the women. And she was recently appointed as the brand ambassador of very famous kitchenware company, which is known as Wonderchef. She is also the brand ambassador of Wonderchef, and she was recently appointed as a brand ambassador of this company. And she is a celebrity endorser for several brands, like she is also the brand ambassador of Bata, Whirlpool, electronics company, Cadbury Fuse, so many companies. Cadbury Fuse is chocolate company again, Whirlpool electronics company, Bata is a shoemaking company, Wonderchef kitchenware company, and now watch company. So you can just remember this. But you can also remember Rohit Sharma here. Rohit Sharma become the brand ambassador of very famous watch company. Again, it is TAG. So you have to remember, and the brand ambassador of TAG is known as Texter. Texter means brand ambassador of TAG company. So you can also remember about Rohit Sharma. Rohit Sharma as the brand ambassador will help steer the brand to new heights in the audio and the wearable industry. And TAG launched its first smart watch, TAG Verve, last year. The name is TAG Verve last year. And it has also planned on launching a series of next generation smartwatches along with a fresh range of audio products. So TAG brand ambassador Rohit Sharma and Fossil brand ambassador is Kriti Senon. You have to remember. MS Dhoni was recently appointed as a brand ambassador of Home Lane company. He became the first brand ambassador of this company. Virat Kohli, so many companies are there, like he was the brand ambassador of Vivo Communication. He was also appointed as the brand ambassador of Digit Insurance. He was also appointed as the brand ambassador of Great Learning Platform. So all these companies are endorsed by Virat Kohli. Moving to next question. Which state became the first Indian state to implement Celtic's state-of-the-art cell broadcasting public warning system? Very important question. And this is Andhra Pradesh. Answer of this question is A. But you have to remember this Celtic. Celtic is name of the company. So you can see here Celtic, and you can say Vodafone India. Partners with Andhra Pradesh State Disaster Management Agency and Celtic launch India's first cell broadcast based public warning system for any kind of the disaster. So Celtic is the world's largest cell broadcast based products provider, and it used to support for its state CAP compliant integrated public alert and the warning system. So you have to just remember that Vodafone India Limited, India's leading telecom service provider, I am just writing here, Vodafone India Limited, has partnered with the Andhra Pradesh State Disaster Management and Celtic. So these three companies basically partnership, and it is for the cell broadcast based product provider to launch India's first cell broadcasting public warning system. And you can remember, the cell broadcast based emergency mass alerting system will provide real time geo targeted warning alerts securely in over 10 Indian languages during any kind of natural or the man made disaster to subscribers of Vodafone India in Andhra Pradesh. It means the alert will be provided by this Celtic company, but it will be provided to only the Vodafone users in Andhra Pradesh. So, this is the question. And Andhra Pradesh, you can say, recently launched a Clean Andhra Pradesh program, which is known as Jagana Swachh Sankalp program. Jagana Swachh Sankalp program. It was launched in the month of July to commemorate the birth anniversary of the late Chief Minister Y.S. Rajshekhar Reddy. Y.S. Rajshekhar Reddy. So under this program, the municipal administration divisions will work along with the Panchayati Raj divisions for sanitation in villages and cities, and at first a 100-day statewide sanitation drive was to be initiated. So you have to just remember the name of the campaign which was launched by the Andhra Pradesh. So remember, Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister is Jagan Mohan Reddy, and Governor is Vishwabhushan Harichandan. Moving to next question. A book titled Translating Myself and Others, authored by whom? Again, very famous author, and she also won the Pulitzer Prize, and this lady is Jhumpa Lahiri. So answer of this question is D. So Jhumpa Lahiri, the Pulitzer Prize winning, very famous author, Pulitzer Prize winning fiction writer, has authored a new book known as the Translating Myself and Others, which is set to be released in 2022. And the book includes several essays about translation, like previously published or unpublished. So this book includes several essays. And Jhumpa Lahiri, very famous author, and she basically born in London, United Kingdom, but she is an author and translator of Indian origin. And these essays featured in the book reflects Jhumpa Lahiri's experience with translation, self-translation, and writing across so many languages. And the book also includes an essay on her ambition to translate the Metamorphoses by Roman poet Ovid. So this Metamorphoses written by Ovid, and this is the ambition to translate this book of the Jhumpa Lahiri. And she is serving as the director of the Princeton University program in creative writing. And her first book, a collection of short story that is known as Interpreter of Maldives, won the Pulitzer Prize in the fiction category in the year of 2000. And her book title, The Namesake, was later made into the movie in 2006. So that's why she is very famous author. So other books are like, you can say, she wrote the Lowland book, Lowland, Whereabout. This is a very important book because this was asked in so many exams. Whereabouts, and this is the book written by the Jhumpa Lahiri. So you can remember, and other authors are here like Arundhati, Anuradha Roy, very famous author. She wrote a book, Azadi. Azadi stands for freedom, fascism, and fiction. So this book is written by Anuradha Roy. Kunal Basu wrote a book, In an Ideal World. So this book is written by Kunal Basu. Manan Bhatt, very famous book. He wrote Balakot Air Strike. Basically, how India avenged Pulwama attack. This is the Balakot Air Strike. Moving to next question. Which bank launched UniTransact to simplify cross-border transactions? Now, there is a trend of cross-border transactions. So, every bank is now focusing on cross-border transactions so that transactions can be easily fulfilled between the two countries. And this is started by HSBC. So, Hong Kong and Shanghai Bank Corporation India launched this HSBC UniTransact, a digital proposition for the simplifying cross-border transactions. And it will provide a one-stop solution and seamless transactions between client and the beneficiary. So the main objective is to unify all cross-border transactions at a single point and provide seamless transaction facility. So it will provide a summary of all the cross transactions, all the cross-border transactions, including two-way communication with the client. And the client can upload, store, and retrieve documents for the transactions. So you have to remember, it is HSBC Bank. Even you can also remember that HSBC India is the first bank who started ATM in India. HSBC India, the first ATM in India was set up in 1987 by HSBC India in Mumbai. Mumbai, you can remember this, 1987. And who is the CEO? CEO is Hitendra Dave. Hitendra Dave, and it was founded in 1853 at global level. So moving to next question, Adidas named which Olympic medalist as the face of Stay in Play campaign? So you have to remember this Stay in Play campaign because Adidas, a German footwear and the accessories company, has named Olympic silver medalist weightlifter Mirabai Channu. So answer of this question is C, Mirabai Channu, as the face of its Stay in Play campaign, which is designed to keep more menstruation women in sports. So you can see here, Stay in Play campaign is designed to keep more menstruating women in sports so that they can play seamlessly. And to support the menstruating women athletes, the brand has launched, which is known as Tech Fit Period Proof Tights with added layer of protection. This is a kind of apparel which is promoted by Adidas for the women, especially during the time period of periods. And it is to support the menstruating women athletes. The brand was launched, which is known as Tech Fit Period Proof Tights, which added a layer of protection. So you can just remember the name. It is Mirabai Channu. So you can remember this Mirabai Channu weightlifting, and she won the silver medal in 49 kg category. First medal in 2020 Olympics was won by this person, Mirabai Channu. So you can remember, and she belongs to Manipur. She belongs to Manipur. So you can also remember. Now another awardees are here, like of 2022 Olympics, like PV Sindhu is there. PV Sindhu won the bronze medal in badminton, very famous player. Neeraj Chopra, I think all the students now know this, that he won the gold medal. Remember this, in the javelin throw. And Lovlina Borgohain, and she is very famous boxing player, and she won the bronze medal in the boxing. And you can remember she recently appointed as the brand ambassador of Assam for Samagar Shiksha Abhiyan. Remember this. And other players are like Neeraj Chopra we covered, Mirabai Channu we covered, Ravi Kumar Daya. Ravi Kumar Daya was from wrestling, and he also won the silver medal like Mirabai Channu. Silver medal. And he won in wrestling in 57 kg category. Mirabai Channu in the weightlifting in 49 kg category. Next, PV Sindhu we covered. Indian hockey team also won the bronze medal. You can remember in the field hockey. And Bajrang Punia won the bronze medal in wrestling in 65 kg category. So you can remember this. All the players are very, very important. Any type of question can be asked. So moving to next question, which company launched Kisan Store for the doorstep delivery of the agriculture produces to the farmers? So this is very important, and this is launched by Amazon. So answer of this question is again C. So Amazon launched this Kisan Store, a facility that allows farmer to purchase agriculture product like seeds, farm accessories, plant protections, nutrition at Amazon Easy Store. Over 8,000 products were available for their purchase with doorstep delivery facility. And digital payment modes like net banking, UPI, Amazon Pay, debit and debit cards can also be used for the procurement. And the website is available in 5 Indian languages like Hindi, Telugu, Kannada, Tamil and Malayalam, especially focus on the South India. So especially remember, Amazon started this Kisan Store so that the farmers can purchase agriculture product like seed, farm accessory, plant protection, nutrition at the Amazon Easy stores. Moving to next question, which state launched MyMEG to engage citizens in the government's process so that maximum to maximum participation of population of this state can be increased? And this MEG stands for Meghalaya. So answer of this question is B. And who is the Chief Minister? Konark K. Sangma. So Konark K. Sangma, the Chief Minister of Meghalaya, launched this program which is known as MyMeg program, an initiative to facilitate citizens' engagement and the participation in the governance process. And this is in line with the aim of the state to become top 10 state in India by the year of 2030. One of the top 10 state in India by the year of 2030. And you can also see here, this is Konark K. Sangma who launched this MyMeg Citizen Engagement Initiative. And it will connect with citizens through face-to-face and digital platforms which will facilitate citizen-centric for information on the benefits of the key schemes and the program. So my MEG program aims to participate and share feedback and opinions through polls and surveys, engage people through town hall meetings, track the process of schemes, program and initiative at the various level. In simple word, you can say that this program has been designed to accelerate the development of the state by engaging and empowering the citizens and promote their participation in the governance. And you can remember governor is Satyapal Malik. Satyapal Malik, who was earlier the governor of, you can say, Goa, earlier the governor of Bihar, even earlier the governor of Odisha. Now he is currently the governor of Meghalaya. And you can also remember very important national park in Meghalaya. One is Nokrek, very famous. Nokrek National Park. Nokrek is one of the very important biosphere reserve of India. And very important national park is Bal Fakram. Bal Fakram National Park is also in Meghalaya. Moving to next question. Bharat Heavyweight Electric Limited commissioned India's largest floating solar photovoltaic plant in which state? Remember, it is largest floating solar photovoltaic plant in which state? We are talking about photovoltaic. But if examiner is asking only about India's largest floating solar plant, then answer is Ramagundam. Ramagundam is in Telangana and capacity is 100 megawatt. But now we are talking about floating solar PV, it means photovoltaic plant in which state? So it is basically commissioned by NTPC, National Thermal Power Corporation, and answer of this state is Andhra Pradesh. So very simple question, you have to just remember or you can differentiate these two questions. So India's largest floating solar photovoltaic plant is in Andhra Pradesh, and the largest floating solar plant is in Ramagundam. It is 100 megawatt of capacity in Telangana. So this photovoltaic plant is exactly situated in Simhadri. Simhadri is in Andhra Pradesh, not in Telangana. Andhra Pradesh. And BHEL or Bharat Heavyweight Electric Limited has become commercially operationalized by the NTPC Limited. So you can just remember this BHEL has commissioned the floating solar photovoltaic plant with the unique state-of-art design, and its total capacity is 25 megawatt. 25 megawatt. So 25 megawatt floating solar power plant covering an area of 100 acre is set to under the flexibilization scheme notified by the Indian government in 2018. So you have to just remember exact location. This can be asked, and it is a NTPC unit. NTPC Simhadri is the main unit of this area. Moving to next question, it is our cabinet approvals, not so much important, but you can just remember the first point that India and Italy signed a memorandum of understanding in the field of disaster risk reduction and management. So the MOU will help in strengthening the areas of preparedness, response and capacity building in the field of disaster management, any kind of disaster management. Next, government has approved a production-linked incentive scheme for the auto industry and the drone industry to enhance India's manufacturing capability. We are very much focused on now drone industry after the attack of the Jammu Kashmir air station, you can say. And the Union Cabinet has approved this production-linked incentive scheme for automobile industry as well as for the drone industry, which total budget of 26,000 crore almost, exact is 26,058 crore rupees, but you can just remember 26,000 crore. Now we are moving to the next question. It is from picture that Indian military contingent participate in the 6th edition exercise of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization Peaceful Mission of 2021. It is hosted by Russia, exact place is Orenburg. So this is the 6th edition of this exercise of Shanghai Cooperation Organization. It is known as Peaceful Mission 2021 and it is hosted by Russia, exact place is Orenburg. And it is a biennial exercise. You have to remember, biennial exercise, it means happens once in 2 years. And it is organized under the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. And the exercise is conducted between the SCO members, and total SCO members are 8. So you can see here, the Indian military participated in a joint counter-terrorism exercise known as SCO Peaceful Mission 2021. And India sent a almost 200 personnel comprised of an all-arms combined force, including 38 personnel from the Indian Air Force for this exercise. And the main aim of this exercise is to increase global cooperation to counter-terrorism, to encourage close relationship between the 8 SCO member countries, and to enhance the abilities of the military leaders to command multinational contingents and to share best practices between the armed forces of the 8 SCO nations. But you have to remember about this SCO, Shanghai Cooperation Organization. It was established in 2001 by 6 countries. 6 countries are like Russia, China, Kyrgyzstan, Kazakhstan, Tajikistan, and Uzbekistan. These 6 countries established this Shanghai Cooperation Organization in 2001. Later on, India and Pakistan also joined as a member in 2017. So now total member countries are 8. And in 2020, India did not participate in this exercise due to COVID-19, you can say. So remember, it is a biennial exercise. So now we are moving to next question. So we are moving to important question. You have to like this video, share this video and subscribe this channel if you are new on this platform, and join our Telegram group from the description box link. Here is only one question and it is from picture that Wasim Akram, even VVS Lakshman and Kulisenar joined world's first crypto cricket platform. So you have to just remember the name of this cricket platform and which company launched this crypto cricket platform. So this is known as Cricket Foundation. This is the name of the company, and it is a Singapore headquarter blockchain based platform launched world first cricket non-fungible token named as cricketcrazy.io. This is the name of the cryptocurrency which is launched by this company, which is known as Cricket Foundation. And remember, what is the meaning of non-fungible token? It is a unique digital asset designed to present ownership on a virtual item. Like even you are tweeting something, then your tweet can also become non-fungible token, and you can acquire the ownership of this digital asset. So this is known as non-fungible token. So NFT is a unique digital asset designed to represent the ownership on a virtual item. So remember, and Cricket Foundation has partnered with around 120 cricketers for promoting this, and including Wasim Akram, VVS Lakshman and Lance Kulisana. And the main objective is to engage with the cricket fans and to create financial opportunities to the retired cricketers. And this CRIC token, this is known as CRIC. CRIC token is the medium of transactions for all applications built on the platform, and it is used in maintaining the security and integrity of the cricket blockchain platform. Just remember name of the company and name of this non-fungible token. So this is important. Moving to next question, and it is our one-liner important point. Here is the first point. Sports to the farmers keeping the world away from the sustainable development goals. This is a report of 3 organizations: Food and Agriculture Organization, United Nations Development Bank and United Nations Environment Program. So the name of the report is a multi-billion-dollar opportunity repurposing agriculture sport to the transform food system. And the report is an analysis of the country's support to the farmers and its adverse impacts on the food prices, environment, global warming, and farmers, especially smallholders. I think all the students are thinking that if the government is providing support to the farmers, how it can be worse. So it is to inform the countries about the negative side of the agro funding, which is keeping the world away from the achieving sustainable development goals. Therefore, an alarming need to reform the agriculture support system. Because why they are saying that it is adverse to support the agriculture? Because the contemporary food production system emit high greenhouse gases, and the support is being provided for the most emission intensive sector like sugar, like the beef production chain. So we have to reduce, we have to culminate this type of the support, especially to the sugar industry and the beef production. So increase in the industrial food production and the consumption led to the non-communicable diseases. And the current support system had invariably helped the corporates more than the producer. So they are not basically helping the farmers, they are helping the corporates. So we have to focus on these areas. We have to implement these type of things so that we can reduce the support to the corporate, especially in the sugar industry and the beef production, which are basically the most emission intensive sector. Next is, you can also remember about here United Nations Development Program. UNDP was basically established in 1965 and its headquarters is in New York. And also UNEP, United Nations Environment Program, it was established in 1972 and its headquarters is in Nairobi, Kenya. India's GDP to grow by 7.2% in 2021 and 6.8% in 2022. And it is a report of United Nations Conference on Trade and Development. So remember, just you have to remember the data: 7.2% in 2021 and 6.8% in 2022. And the report also estimate India GDP of 2022 becoming the fastest growing economy in the world. But you can also remember very important data like SBI predicted 7.9%, especially for the SBI you have to remember 7.9% for the financial year of 2022. Next you can remember World Bank predicted 8.3% in 2022. IMF predicted 9.5% in 2022, And Economic Survey 2021, remember Economic Survey 2021, this is the official data of government, they predicted 11% in the year of 2022. So you can remember this, very important. International Day for the Preservation of the Ozone Layer 2021 celebrated on the 16th of September to create awareness about the importance of ozone layer in protecting the earth from the harmful rays of the sun. And the day also commemorates the signing of Montreal Protocol. You have to remember this protocol. Montreal Protocol, so many times this question asks that Montreal Protocol is related to what? So it is related to prevent the ozone layer depletion. And this was basically Montreal Protocol on substances that deplete the ozone layer. It was signed in 1987, but it came into force in 1988. Montreal is a place in Canada. And the theme of the International Day for the Preservation of the Ozone Layer 2021 is Montreal Protocol, keeping us, our food and vaccines cool. And the Montreal Protocol phases down the consumption and production of the different, you can say, ozone depletion sediments in a stepwise manner with the different timetables for the developed and the developing countries. So the most important here is Montreal Protocol, and remember the 16th September. Next is OneWeb, very important platform, especially in 2020 it was owned by Bharti Airtel, or you can say Bharti Group. OneWeb launches 34 satellites from the Kazakhstan for the global internet service push. And with this, OneWeb satellites into the orbit expanded to 322. Now total 322 satellites are launched by the OneWeb, and they are now in the Earth orbit, and it is for the improvement of the global connectivity. And OneWeb has plans to launch almost 648 low Earth orbit satellites for the high speed global internet connection, including to the most remote corners of the world. Next, President Ramnath Kovind conferred National Florence Nightingale Awards to 51 nurses. So you don't have to remember the name, just remember 51. The data is very important. And the Government of India instituted this National Florence Nightingale Award in 1973 to recognize the meritorious services provided by the nurse to the society. And the award also recognizes the courage and devotion to the victims of the armed conflict or the natural disaster. And this award consists of 50,000 rupees, a certificate and a medal. Next, TCS became the second Indian company to hit USD 200 billion market cap after Reliance Industries Limited. So Tata Consultancy Service of Tata Group became the second Indian company to hit the 200 billion USD market capitalization. The Reliance Industry was the first Indian company to achieve this feat, but now it is Tata Consultancy Service. And among the most valued software company, TCS is ranked behind Accenture all over world, Accenture and IBM, because Accenture total market capitalization is almost 218 billion, and second is now TCS. And you can also remember TCS, which complete 50 years now, listed in the stock market in 2004, and total 50 billion USD market valuation in December 2010, 100 billion in 2018, 150 billion in 2020, now 200 billion in 2021. So very fast growing company. So now you can also see here this International Day for the Preservation of Ozone Layer. What is the theme? Montreal Protocol, keeping us, our food and the vaccine cool. You have to remember this Montreal Protocol. So this is for the to protect the ozone layer. So now we are moving to the question of the day. What was the question of 16th of September 2021? Merchant banking is an institution which provide finances to. So first of all, you have to remember what is the meaning of this merchant banking. What is the meaning of this merchant banking? So merchant bank is a financial institution which provides capital to the companies, in form of shares, in form of share ownership instead of loans. So this is the merchant banking. I am repeating again, merchant banking is a financial institution which provides capital to companies in the form of share ownership instead of loan. So it is a bank that deals mostly in the international finance, long-term loans for the companies and underwriting. So answer of this question is now very simple. It is international trade among countries, and merchant banks do not provide regular banking services to the general public. So answer of this question is second. So now we are moving to the question of the day. Which one of the following links all the ATMs in India? So very simple question and very important question, especially for the banking. And you have to tell me answer only in the comment box. Please read the options, like this is IBA, this is National Security Depository NSDL, and this is NPCI, and this is RBI. So you have to tell me answer only in the comment box. I'm waiting your answer. Please like this video, share this video as maximum as possible, and please subscribe this channel if you're new on this platform. And press this bell button and join our Telegram channel for the official notification. And it is a Affairs Cloud promise that it will boost your confidence in the general awareness section. and you can subscribe our current affairs for 1 year as well as for 2 year. And in both subscriptions, we are providing 10% extra discount if you use this code ASH10. And don't take life so much serious. Life is fun. Always be happy like this smiley. Thank you guys. Take care and bye bye.